Some information has been released during the production of Morbius, and due to the debut of Venom, there will be carnage. All the pieces are starting to fall into place. Here are all the important details about Morbius, the new anti-hero that fans should be aware of. First, let's dive into Sony and Disney's new agreement. The two companies eventually reached an agreement allowing Marvel to utilize Tom Holland's Peter Parker in 2 additional films, including Spider-Man: No Way Home and a secret crossover picture that might be an Avengers sequel. However, specifics on it are yet to be established. As per the leaks, Sony is incorporating lots of new Marvel Cinematic Universe connections and nods into Morbius that'll almost certainly help the film gain a following thanks to their partnership deal. Shortly after the teasers appeared, a leaker revealed that the entire narrative of the film, including all of the hidden and not so subtle references to the MCU and Spider-Man. If you don't like spoilers, now is your chance to avoid the major leaks we'll be discussing in this video. So, Morbius, who is he? Michael Morbius was created by Roy Thomas and Gil Kane in 1971 as a new nemesis for Spider-Man, but he quickly grew into a sad anti-hero. The smart doctor, who was struggling with a rare blood illness, devised a plan to reverse his disease and performed an experimental therapy. The procedure not only spared his life, but also transformed him into a hybrid between human and vampire, complete with a look to complement it. It also gave Michael many of the fabled creature's heightened skills, with some of their downsides, apart from a craving for human blood. He would continue to work on a solution to erase the adverse effects while battling and occasionally assisting Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man and subsequent Spider-Man comics. Morbius specifically lists improved strength, speed, and some type of a bat radar as some of the attributes forced upon him in the more recent trailer, and we see him discovering he can fly. It's unclear if he'll utilize his powers as a potential ally, a villain in a larger plot, or others like Eddie Brock, who seems to be an unwilling member of the expanding group of anti-heroes. The teaser strongly suggests that Morbius will grapple with this issue, claiming that the film will drive a wedge between being a hero and a villain. Which cinematic universe is Morbius going to be in? The plot is a lot more intriguing than one may think. The last trailer established that the film takes place in a reality whereby Spider-Man not only exists, but is also sought for killing, and the Vulture is attempting to recruit the title character. Because the teaser illustrations of Spider-Man match the character's look inside the PS4 Spider-Man video game, or perhaps the Raimi-era outfits, it really was easy to think Morbius's journey occurred in its own separate universe from the MCU, or the one that can be seen in Venom. Nonetheless, a mention of that thing in San Francisco, and Morbius trying to claim to be Venom within that 2021 trailer convincingly connect the two cinematic universes. Is it conceivable, though, that this is the MCU in some bizarre way? Morbius was supposed to come out before Spider-Man: No Way Home, but now it'll be released after it. So the original plan may be reworked in light of the new release date, especially considering the fact that there are rumors of reshoots in February. Let's dive into what we've learned from the trailer. Morbius's initial trailer was a little puzzling since, in addition to the plot we just mentioned, there was also some street art of Spider-Man labeling him as a murderer, and we also saw the Vulture alongside Morbius. But when we witnessed the two characters interact in the teaser, we thought Sony movies were part of a separate cinematic universe from the MCU, which is why not everything actually makes sense. But now it's all coming into focus. Morbius, like Venom before him, appears to be another Spider-Man spin-off. We now fully understand that Morbius will be a reflection of the Marvel multiverse that we've all recently become acquainted with, which means that all the Marvel characters' alternate universes are legit, and that any one of the characters from the different universes can make an appearance at any moment. Now, let's take a look at the trailer leak. The low-quality, minute-long teaser delivers additional glances at Jared Leto's grotesque character. Michael Keaton plays Adrian Toomes in the trailer, and it concludes with Dr. Michael Morbius sarcastically saying, "I am Venom." An additional clip of Morbius battling is also included, along with additional pictures of his altered appearance. The trailer was previously available on YouTube, but Sony took it down. Morbius was supposed to be released on July 10th, 2020, as part of Sony's growing Marvel picture schedule. The film was subsequently pushed back to July 31st because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which also pushed it back to March 19th, 2021, and finally to October 8th, 2021. Before many studios recovered faith in the theatrical business returning, the movie was finally pushed out to January 2022. If somehow the trailer leak is legit, it'll present an opportunity for Sony to bind its Marvel projects together. The end credits scene of Venom: Let There Be Carnage already connected the series to the MCU Spider-Man films. Besides that, back in August, Morbius director Daniel Espinosa suggested a Venom appearance as well. And while the symbiote might not show up, it's evident that Leto's character acknowledges him, proving that Eddie Brock's buddy enjoys uttering his famous line. Remember the infamous vampire hunter Blade? He originally got his powers from a bite from Morbius, the living vampire, but Marvel changed his story arc for some unknown reason. Who knows? Maybe the introduction of Morbius could be Sony's way of trying to set the stage for Blade to make a return. Next, we have the Reddit leaks. Spoiler alert, the leaks that we'll be discussing moving forward are all from a Reddit user who urged us to remain anonymous and didn't disclose his source. The J. Jonah Jameson connection. As Michael seeks to discover a treatment for his sickness, he encounters Loxias Crown, who feels the need to tell him of a cave in Brazil where he previously contracted the same illness. The movie begins in Brazil with Michael aboard a helicopter en route to the cave. He then stows away on a private ship and begins his transformation into a vampire after killing off the pirates. This is going to be the first serious action sequence in the movie. Michael subsequently wakes up in New York after the whole fiasco, unsure of what has occurred. Michael then enters a pub and requests that the bartender call an ambulance. Michael's watching TV at this point, and it's none other than J. Jonah Jameson discussing the unexplained discovery of dead bodies on a cargo ship. Then Michael begins to get flashbacks of what he had done. The Endgame connection. The next scene involves Michael informing Martine Bancroft and Nikos of the truth, and he places himself in confinement to protect them from harm. Simon Stroud, who possesses a robotic gauntlet on his right arm that gives him extraordinary strength in that arm, is researching what caused the pirates' deaths. The next scene will switch to Loxias Crown in a lab, with Simon Stroud attempting to assassinate Michael after he finds out he was the one behind the deaths of the pirates, and the tomb in Michael's lab starting to open up by itself. This is rumored to be the film's second action sequence. Meanwhile, there's a sequence of Michael putting his new talents to the test. A lot of this is also seen in the trailers, which is likely due to the leaks, considering the leaks were released almost 2 years ago. He subsequently transferred to San Quentin State Prison to answer for his crimes, where he meets Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, who makes a joke about how being blipped technically gave him a lesser term. The Sinister Six setup. In the next scene, Michael will encounter Loxias Crown in some type of ghost form during his first night in prison and forces him to accompany him to New York, or he'll harm Martine Bancroft. While hovering and surrounded by bats, Michael gathers his strength and escapes the prison. As a result, all the prison's electricity turns off and everyone's set free, and then of course a riot breaks out in the jail. Meanwhile, the Vulture also attempts to get out of prison, and Michael utilizes his talents against jail guards to help him. The Vulture appreciates Michael for helping him and informs him he's forming a team, which is most likely a foreshadowing of the Sinister Six's inception, and he wants Michael to be a part of it. Michael rejects and transports him to New York using his super speed. The Spider-Man 3 connection. Morbius meets Loxias Crown when he goes to New York after escaping from prison, who confesses that the skeleton that's in the tomb that's sitting in his lab was once him, and that he's a reincarnation who requires Morbius to fulfill a ritual so that he can spend eternity without having to be reincarnated every time and become all-powerful. The timeline Morbius follows is after Spider-Man Far From Home, but before Spider-Man No Way Home, so basically in between the two movies. Before the cops come after being in search of him for breaking out of the prison, Michael gets away and removes his disguise. On his route, he crosses the Murderer Spider-Man poster, which looks more like the Homecoming outfit than the Raimi suit. So this proves that he's from the same universe as Tom Holland's Spider-Man. The film concludes with Michael and Bancroft attending Nico's burial as Stroud stands nearby. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching.